we actually lost $1.5 million. It looks all cool and shiny on paper.
Sometimes you don't really figure it out and you can lose money like on this deal.
Because we didn't triple check our numbers.
At the same time, HOA prices and taxes went up.
While the rents went down, so we got hit double.
The market decided that whatever you guys paid for and whatever millions, whatever you're into, doesn't matter. The rent has to be lower.
Right now, market in Florida, more in a downturn.
The U.S. economy on steroids. So if something moves up, it moves up a lot more. If something moves down a little bit, it moves down a lot more in Florida.
So start off small, start off with something that you know in your neighborhood. Don't get into something that, dive head first. So hopefully you can learn something so you don't have to make the same mistakes.
A lot of entrepreneurs are going to tell you about all their wins, their successes, the hustle, the grind. Not a lot are going to talk about their failures. Today, we are going to talk about something that did not go well and what we learned from it. So if you're interested in real estate, especially luxury real estate, and you're considering working with an HOA, listen up. I'm here with the founders, creators, Avakyan Capital and New American Dream, Vaz, Ashot. We're talking about a real estate investment and what was attractive about this particular project.
Yeah, so Vaz and I have multiple businesses, 6 different industries. Real estate in particular is our kind of passion. We really like real estate. Our first property we ever bought was $72,000 and we had to put 20% down, which is like close to 18, 19 with a closing cost. So that was the first property we ever bought, and then we realized, wow, we have $300 left over. So let's buy more properties and put more bills in when I don't have to work. So that's how we came about. That's how real estate came about. The famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, kind of opened up the mindset with that. Fast forward in Philly, how many properties we have? Like 70, 75 properties here, like 75 doors.
Yeah.
Cash flowing, each one of them is making us money, so we're doing well. And then we're like, let's look into Florida, because we wanted to move to Florida, and we're like, let's start buying properties there, different caliber, more like a generational wealth, like luxury apartments.
Yeah, what was the time frame around this when you started, the Florida?
We bought this building in 2021. That's when the COVID was happening and the prices were going up. We wanted to purchase this building to mitigate the losses in inflation. We thought inflation will continue to rise. I think we estimated roughly 7 to 8% per year.
Yeah, so basically you park something, it appreciates with the inflation, so that way you don't have money like a melting ice cube, right? It starts disappearing and the purchasing power. So we're like, let's buy something big.
After COVID, whatever happened here in PA, we didn't like the way, the government kind of handled things. We like the way the Florida, where it's more like up to you.
Yeah.
It's your choice, it's your kids, how you want to do things. So we're like, at that point, when one thing about making money, but it's not about the actual paper. It's about that you have a choice. Like, hey, do I want to fly first class or do I want to fly economy? Like, you have a choice. When you don't have a lot of money, you're like, I just want to get there.
You guys look at Florida. You're deciding to move your family there, start investing in there, and you're looking at a different caliber. We talked about how you could take your mindset in a specific business and apply it to any other business or industry. We're within the same world of real estate, which you already know, but there is a difference between luxury investing. What did you kind of, give us a foreshadowing? What did you kind of learn about that?
Before we got into it or after?
What was the mindset before?
The before is 2020, 2021. They're printing money. They're giving it away. Everybody's going on vacations, doing the Airbnbs. We're thinking they're not going to let the printer stop. The giveaways, once you hook somebody up on the giveaway, like, hey, you don't have to work, here's a check, it's very hard for them to go back and start working hard for the same, if not less amount of money.
Sure.
So we felt like there's going to be incentives in the future where, like the universal basic income,
UBI.
UBI.
Yeah.
we're thinking about the dollar will have less of a value in the future than it has now. So we want to get into the more on the luxurious side because more people would be able to pay rent for $4,000 versus $4,000 in 2021 might be a lot of money, but we're thinking as they're gonna print the money, if there's gonna be opportunities, we're gonna have a bigger pool of renters that are willing to pay that. If not, it might be even more rent.
Got it.
So that's the mindset. That's why it's like, okay,
We bought it for $5.57 million. This beautiful 9-unit luxury apartments. Each apartment, it seems like a high price. Each apartment was renting anywhere from $4,500 to roughly as high as $5,000 per unit. And we thought rents will continue to go up or at least stay the same, but that was not the case.
And let's do a little bit of a background on what it was. So Vaz, what was the format? This was one of several buildings.
We have 4 buildings in this neighborhood. One of the buildings is completely the entire building. So initially when we were purchasing, it was on LoopNet, and LoopNet is basically where you go look for commercial residentials or commercial properties. What that means is 5 units and more.
Okay.
So it was presented to us as a one building that we're going to completely own.
right.
Okay. And we're starting to get foreshadowing where the problems come in. But a couple quick questions on the profile. Is this, we're talking luxury. Are we beachfront here? Or we're in Florida, right? So are we beachfront, bayfront? What are we looking at here?
It's bayfront. It's by the Galleria Loft in Fort Lauderdale, which is a pretty decent mall. It's B+, A- class neighborhood, like very close to downtown. But sometimes you don't want to be too close to downtown. Maybe it's not the best area. We had a really good area, a good job market, everything.
And so who are you attracting at this? Who's your target audience for this kind of luxury condo? It might be obvious, but just.
We have doctors, lawyers. Our renters still to this day are like high net worth individuals.
Pilots
High net
from
worth.
Delta.
Okay.
So like
Awesome.
6-figure up people that, and family.
Awesome.
Could be,
And what's future projection? I mean, we talked about generational wealth. We talked about, but do we have any numbers we can share on projections of projections of how this was supposed to cash flow and grow, percentage over year? Like, historically, do luxury units grow slower in appreciation versus, things we should be thinking about as investors?
Yeah, so like non-luxury units, if you're renting, let's say in Philadelphia, it would be, let's say $1,200 non-luxury. In Florida, it's around probably like $2,200 non-luxury. They usually never go down, even if the market collapses. It's going to be stable.
Non-luxury. Okay.
Non-luxury. Luxury, it moves,
Got it.
and especially if it's a lot of people moving in, economy is doing well, rent goes up. So at some point, we're renting for much higher. So it fluctuates depending on the market. Right now, market in Florida is like more in a downturn.
Okay.
In Philly, it's not like that.
But it's still like it's not the best. But Florida is like the U.S. economy on steroids. So if something moves up, it moves up a lot more in Florida. If something moves down a little bit, it moves down a lot more in Florida.
Got
Florida
it.
is like that reaction, like overreacting, ex-girlfriend or something.
I would say
Florida is your overreacting ex-girlfriend. I really like that.
I would call it 3x leverage.
Okay. What were the things of the details that you either presumed or kind of were, not properly advised on as you were making these investments?
Even though the entire building is out, HOA is still in position of holding all the exteriors. You cannot touch, you cannot change the windows, you cannot fix the roof. There's a lot of things you still under control of HOA. So that's one of the things we learned as we progress, even though it's common sense, but we realize how much power the HOA has over you.
We didn't know all these things. We're like, all right, well, we're like a separate island, but HOA still cuts the grass, so we have to still contribute. But no, they have full control. Something happens inside, like even apartment, and we talk about that. Something happened inside our apartment, they still went in and start mitigating, start doing things where without asking our permission. They still have to put an approval on each tenant, even though we approved them, we have our process, we have many units in Philadelphia here. They're like, screw your process, we don't care what you do, we still have to put a process on top of your process. So We didn't like that at all.
And collect the security deposit.
Yeah.
We collect, they want a piece of our security deposit for them to collect, which is,
So if you're thinking about investing in Florida, I'm not saying you not to do it. I'm just saying you really have to double check everything. So even if you're doing something in your own local town and you're like, oh, Florida looks cool, it's a nice cocktail conversation. I have apartments here, I have it in Florida. It's all cool, but double check your math. Make sure that you understand how things are done in Florida.
Just to paint the picture, 2021, me and Vaz, he already left his job. We're working together. We're making money. We have a bunch of real estate. We have a bunch of different businesses. And I'll be, transparent with you guys. And maybe it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. Maybe at that time, I was probably thinking that when you're on a winning streak,
Keep winning. Yeah.
you're gonna be like, yo, just give me the ball. I can throw from anywhere on the court. I don't even care where the hoop is. I'm just gonna throw. It's gonna make it. Start living your life like your shit don't stink. And sometimes you get caught. And I think this is one of the properties where you're like, yo, we'll figure it out. Of course, it's gonna make sense. Of course, the rents are gonna go up. But I'd never even thought about that. It's Florida because I lived 25 years in Philadelphia. I came here when I was 14 years old. I didn't think that there is such a thing as hurricane insurance, and it can go up in Florida after a hurricane.
Right.
And and the rents can sometimes go down on the luxury property because we've been having here properties in the working class neighborhood. They never go down. Where are you gonna move from a 3-bedroom apartment with a family that's $1,500
There's nowhere to go.
on the street? No, that's the last option. That's why you're gonna stay, even if you tell them the next month because they raise the tax or whatever. It's $1,550. They're gonna stay. If you're paying rent $4,200, you have options.
Right.
And something doesn't work out in the industry and the economy is slowing down, you can go to $3,200.
Right. You can downsize.
So I didn't think of that.
Not to mention, there's other luxury buildings that are being built all the time, right? Because
Right.
that's speculation. So there's competition. You might be in a nice building with a good rent, everything's right. This new one has a golf simulator in it. This new one has a whatever
yeah.
better pool. I'll
same pay,
yeah.
I mean, same pay, they'll move.
Right.
But that's what really hit us. The expenses went up, and the rent went down. So it's like it was from, basically, we got hit double.
Right.
The rent, we had to decrease the rent because that's what the market dictates. That's why a lot of times people protest in New York. All these, what do they call them?
Slumlords and
slumlords. This that keep raising it. It's trust me. If it was like that, I'm going to charge $8,000, but people are not going to pay that.
Right.
The market decides.
so when we first bought it, our average rent across all the units was roughly $4,700. So right now, average is around $3,500. So the rent significantly went down. At the same time, HOA prices and taxes went up.
So HOA also has insurance in it. HOA has also management. HOA has all this, landscaping, pool, all these fees. All of it went up. All the labor went up. All the, material costs went up. Insurance went up, while the rents went down. So we got hit double.
So the market decided that whatever you guys paid for and whatever millions, whatever you're into, doesn't matter. The rent has to be lower. The market decided that, there was a hurricane and the other side of Florida on the west side, the Fort Myers and all that, and then all of Florida insurance went up. We didn't have one on the East Coast. There was nothing, but because it's in Florida and, other side got hit, our insurance premium went up.
It was around, I would say 4,500, maybe like 4,400 average. We would list, and literally within a day, we would get people for 5,000, 4,800. And it was so easy to rent out because of the rents were high. There was a shortage in rental units.
Yeah.
So right now it's the opposite.
So we bought it in 2021, early part of 2021, like the first quarter of 2021. And it started going up since then till probably 2022. And from 2023 down already, almost 3 years, it's been on a slow decline.
We talk about in our mentorship program constantly that rents never go down, but that only applies for blue collar workers rent, like certain neighborhoods where the rents are $1,200, $1,400, $2,000, obviously depending on location. When you talk about luxury apartments, rents for them, they do go down indeed, right?
Yeah, we learned it the hard way, and also because there's an option. There's an option when you're living in a luxury place for $5,000, if economy is not doing well, you can move somewhere for 3,000. For 3,000, you can move somewhere from 2,000.
There's multiple reasons why the prices are going down in Florida. Specifically, it's touching condos. There's a lot of condo association issues. There's a lot of condos are having special assessments where they have to check the structure of the unit after 40 years. So there's a lot of condos are having issues where literally if HOA says each unit have to put up 50,000, they have to put up. So it's just overwhelming, specifically condos in Florida, that's causing the plummet. And that's why it also is dragging the rent prices going down. And obviously economy took a small hit. Inflation is nowhere near to what it used to be. It used to be 7, 8. Now it's like 2 to 3%. So that's also not helping. The prices are going down. Interest rates went up. There's a lot of factors. We believe that interest rates will go down in the near future. So for that, we are looking to rent for now to weather the storm, and hopefully in a year or two to be able to sell this.
Again, because the interest rate should be going down, the prices of assets should be going up because it costs less to borrow money. So we're gonna rent it for $3,500. However, our price is around $4,500. So for each unit, we'll be losing $1,000 a month. Well, right now when it's vacant, it's 45. We have 2-3 units vacant, you know, plus other ones are renting less. So we're losing still about $20,000 a month.
But the amount of money we're going to be losing in the next year will certainly be less than if we would sell it all of them now. Yeah. So that's why we're betting that the interest rates will go down, HOAs will stabilize across Florida. So for that reason, I think it'll be much better to sell in a year from now.
And then we started losing money every month.
Then there was a litigation in the building,
Yeah.
so the insurance went up even more.
Okay.
Our HOA affects by that as well.
HOA went up.
Well, that's where, so I think that, you know, and not to rub salt in the wound, right? But I think some of these things, somebody might be watching and go, yeah, you could have done a little more research in Florida. And I think you said that vulnerable moment earlier of just like, you know, sometimes when you're on a winning streak, you just, you know, win again. I think that some of these things you can kind of, you know, I think they're important for investors to look at and understand the demographics and what's going on in the spaces that you're going to and hedge yourself against market volatility. Obviously, understanding the difference between the luxury market and the working class market, there's a clear difference. But I think that in addition to these other things, you know, some of which someone watching this might go, well, I would have predicted that, fine. Probably the most interesting part of the story, I think, is the HOA aspect of the property and the kind of mental toll that took, and obviously financial toll. And so I think that, you know, insurance goes up. You know, you could have a claim at a property, and insurance goes up, and those are the things you deal with, right? You could have a market that goes down. That's usually less. No one's hoping for that, right? So less expected. But man, when you thought the things you shared with me before about how the HOA impacted your ability to manage the property and really do what you needed to do for it to be successful, that was the big thing that I think jumped out. And that's what we want to talk about today. Let's hit the HOA stuff. What did you start seeing, and what are some of those stories and how you had to navigate them?
So number one, when you own the building and HOA is there, that building is not yours. Only what's inside. So you can't go up to the roof and fix it if there's a leak. Exterior wall, anything you cannot touch. So it's
Common
truly,
area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
all
not
not
yours.
yours, yeah.
So imagine we own the entire building, the rail fell off. It could have been anybody, right?
UPS, FedEx. I mean,
So
they
the
delivered it.
HOA
Yeah, touched it.
Yeah, somebody grabbed the stair railing and it came out. A tenant
Yeah.
could have done it. A visitor could have done it, right?
Exactly. It could be anybody. So they charge us $2,700 to put the screw back on. And then, like, why us?
Oh, sorry. At first I thought like the railing fell off. You're saying that
HOA.
right, but the railing, when I hear railing fell off, like I'm thinking pulled out of the wall. I've got to stud maybe got damaged.
No,
No,
screw.
one side fell on the floor,
So you just got to put the screw in.
so they had to put it back in.
And that was
And we have a-
$2,700 to put the one screw back in.
Yeah, that's what they try to charge.
They try. I mean, yeah, we end up getting a lawyer, but the whole
We
thing
try to
is
get
I'm in the
lawyer,
wrong
like,
business.
have
I
a-
could do that.
we have a maintenance
I'll charge you
guy.
$1,500.
There you go. Here we go.
So we have a full-time maintenance guy that we all the units contributing and paying that guy to fix, so that it doesn't cost anything extra.
Right.
So, but because of HOA, they're like, oh, it's you guys, and then they're always targeting us. They hated us because of us. There's a high rental in the market, and anytime if the rental goes above 50% out of the community, it's harder for people to get a loan.
Give me that one more time. 50% of what? So walk me through
Both
that.
tire.
of the entire facility. So let's say there's like 48 units in the
Okay.
complex. If you own, or if there's more than 24 renters in a community, it's harder for people to sell, to get a mortgage, regular conventional mortgage.
For
Okay.
like to live there. For like,
Okay, got it. So for
because now it's like a renter's community. It's not owner's community.
got it. So you could buy an individual
Yeah.
unit
Yeah.
and own it.
Yes.
Or you could do what you did, which is buy a whole building of
rent it.
units and rent them.
You can buy one and then rent it out, but that's going to be not an owner occupied.
Got it.
It's going
Got
to
it.
be renters now.
Got
So
it.
then the HOA, people who live there, who feel like, oh, this is our house, all these renters coming in and ruining it. It's not true. Our renters are lawyers. Our renters are doctors. Our renters, but
Fascinating. So-
they give you that stigma, like you're bad.
So got it. So you also got pressure from some of the other residents in the community.
No, just the HOA.
It's
Just the HOA.
The president.
So, just the president.
Yeah.
So it's just one person dictatorially decides that they
Yeah.
prioritize owners over renters,
It's
and
a
boom.
straight up dictatorship.
But then we have a backup plan.
Okay.
I was like, I have a great idea. I was like, I'm going to run and I'm going to become a president.
Has anyone ever done that before?
No, because
yeah.
they pissed us off so much that I never wanted to do it. So then I was like, I'm going to
Imagine
run.
our busy lives, like family, businesses, traveling,
Do we?
conferences. We do like 4 or 5 conferences.
Okay, I gotta ask. When you guys ran, did you have any is there any good posters of you with
No, I submitted my resume.
looking somewhere and just kind of?
No, I submitted my resume. People loved it. I'm an electrical computer engineer, so they're going through the litigation against the structural. I was like, I'll help you guys with that. So the resume was good. We got a lot of people involved. We bought people dinner, right? It was pretty cool. We got a lot of people contacts. So we went in to vote, all of us, right? We went in. Basically, I won, but because there was so much mail-in votes with no stamps, the president maintained in seat by one vote.
So just
do you-
to clarify something.
Yeah.
A lot of people there that live in Venezuela, live in Colombia, live in Brazil,
Canada.
live in Canada, live in Italy, and have a condo there.
Okay.
So they didn't even know there's votes going on. So somebody can just say, hey, someone just mailed in from Italy with no stamp. It just says a letter, says, oh, they voted for
So
me.
what, they put it in
And they
like a
were
bottle
right in
and
the-
put it in the ocean?
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
made it?
No, they were opening the envelopes, the mailing, and then they're reading it in front of all of us. I was like, where's the stamp?
How
There's no
can
stamp.
how can you send something from
And
Italy?
there's nothing.
And nobody
else-
said
nobody
anything?
else- Nobody
No,
else.
That's it. That's it. Nobody says anything. Just says you lost by 1 vote.
But they just sit in silence when you go, where's the stamp? That's crazy to me. Okay, so the plot thickens. Okay, so you run for so this HOA is charging $2,700 to screw something into a wall, which is enough for me. I don't need to know any other stories. That's good
Oh,
enough.
there's more.
Tell me, what else you got?
No, and this is 2021. We're still in Philly. We didn't move yet
Yeah.
to Florida. We get a text message like at 10 p.m. Like, oh, you did this rail. Like we're
your
in Philly.
your tenant's
I'm
dog
home
pooped.
with my wife, like sleeping. Like he's telling me I did something in Florida. What do you mean you did? Or I'll send a picture of a napkin by our door and says stop littering. Like, bro, it could be the wind just brought it to like.
Sure.
It's your tenants. Like it's insane.
But
I
the-
felt like I don't live in America. This was like straight up like somewhere like USSR. I think it was a time machine.
The worst thing they ever done, what pissed me off insanely, is we had a window leak, and window HOA covers that. That we anything from
I remember
external
that.
coming in,
Yeah, I remember
Basically,
that, yeah.
it's their responsibility because the building is not us.
Yeah.
Even though we own the building. So there was a flood in the unit. The HOA calls the company to go inside the unit without our permission to do the flood mitigation. So like take out the sheetrock and they're gonna get
Sure.
paid from insurance this. So I was like, who gave you the rights to go inside my units?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. It goes both ways. If you're not allowed to, if you don't own the structure and the other pieces, they don't own your unit.
inside. So they went inside so they can claim the insurance for the work they did. There's nothing I can do because they already did the work.
Wow. So really, it feels like to me the story here is that the HOA. So, what is the? I don't need to say it. What is the lesson learned that you guys have from this, and specifically with HOAs?
Jonathan, the lesson is always trust your instinct, trust your gut. We both individually knew this wrong, but would not have a conversation because he felt like, hey, maybe it's not a problem. But we did so much work already, so much, you know. So he was holding back. I was holding back, saying, bro, I feel like this is not, you know, a good investment. You got to trust your gut. You got to trust your instincts. And it's okay. It doesn't matter what people will say. A lot of times, for me personally, I don't know how Vaz feels, but for me personally, I felt like this would be like a trophy property for us after doing so many different basements in Philly, buying so many sheriff sales, and sometimes buying a building with not good tenants and kicking them out. Like a lot of work with like, oh, we're different now. We make more money now. We're better now. Let's do something bigger. Like going to territory, I'm not saying never to go there, but maybe your first luxury property shouldn't be close to $6 million with all the closing costs and everything.
Right.
You know, don't just jump into something believing in faith and something will always work out. And a lot of times it's also like I said about trophy properties, I wanted to, you know, have a little bit something like a good conversation. Like, oh, I have this property over there. This. Sometimes, you know, you got to check your ego and just stay humble, honestly. I felt like this was a mistake there. That cost us probably more than $1 million at this point, to be honest with you.
So since it's costing us now every month about $25,000 to keep this asset, we decided to sell it, right?
Yes, yes. So we list some of the units for sale. So the 2 units are sold out of this entire building. And we realized that there's so much apartments on the market currently that it's not worth to sell because we actually currently can sell lower than we purchased for. So to mitigate that losses, we're just going to continue to rent, and rent is around $3,500 now.
Yeah, so we're just gonna weather the storm. Hopefully the market recovers and we'll be able to sell them higher. We don't wanna be part of HOA even if we're making money now. We just don't wanna deal with people. Like we didn't get into business or real estate for somebody to tell us what to do, you know? So we're just gonna get out. We wanted to get out now, all of them, but we're only able to sell 2 like Vaz said. And we're just gonna rent some of these out because they're empty and because we wanted to sell them. And now we're just gonna rent them out and see what happens with the market. Yeah, so definitely we don't suggest you start with luxury apartments. The reason is, again, we are losing $20,000 a month. The reason why we're able to withstand that is because we have a lot more apartments that make us a lot more than $20,000 in Philly. You know, in the working class neighborhoods, B-class neighborhoods, that's cash flowing very well. So that way, it's not, I don't have to go to work and we don't have to go drive Uber to make this money. So start off small, start off with something that you know in your neighborhood. Start off with working class neighborhoods and work yourself up. But, you know, don't get into something that, you know, dive head first. As you can see, we lost, when it's all said and done, we're probably going to lose around $1.5 million on this deal because we didn't triple check our numbers and didn't follow our guts.
I gotta say, and then as we're closing up here, I think it's fascinating. I mean, first of all, it's rare that anybody wants to share anything, any mistakes they made anywhere. Secondly, to be that vulnerable to kind of look at it, because it's crazy that you're saying that, because I'm literally hearing this after recording a different episode with you about being entrepreneurial right before this, right? So full disclosure, if you're watching the YouTube channel and you see us in the same clothes, they're shot the same day. All the principles, a lot of the things you teach in that other episode when we talked about the purchasing of the daycare, how to be entrepreneurial, how to think, like some of those can get you in a little bit of trouble. The like, I only know 30 to 40% of what I need, I'll figure out the rest, right? But most of the other things feel like this was counter to your normal values and approach to business. And I think that what I'm hearing is ego, right? What I'm hearing is that, and we've all felt that. You have a couple successes, you have a couple wins, and you go like, yeah, I don't need to be as careful with the budget on this next project because we'll be fine. Take the extra minute to do that math, right? Double check, right? Like those are the things, those little details. And I love that takeaway because I think that when you get whisked up in success and as things start to grow, you immediately get into the mindset of like, I'm in a different echelon and maybe I don't need to do the basics. I think if you use a sports analogy, right? Well, I'm like, I'm a great athlete. So yeah, but are you still doing the fundamentals?
Right.
Right. And I think that that's probably the biggest takeaway is that when you start to feel ego or things that are tangential to what the core business needs are, right? Check those at the door and think fundamentals.
Right.
Would that be a fair?
Yeah. And I wanted to add like something really quick. Like for me, what I learned from all of this, it's HOA is one of them, but the biggest where I learned about luxury units, since real estate have 5 sources of income, you should only buy luxury apartments as an investment for tax write-offs. So your main focus should be tax write-offs. Nothing else. Don't look for the cash flow. Cash flow is great, but the main aspects in luxury is tax write-offs. So if you're not looking for that, then you're not ready for luxury. So
yeah, if you're relying to make money on it, if you're relying to stay profitable, to pay for some of your expenses, that's probably
It's too volatile, too speculative.
So since it's costing us now every month about $25,000 to keep this asset, we decided to sell it, right?
yes. So we list some of the units for sale. So the 2 units are sold out of this entire building. And we realized that there's so much apartments on the market currently that it's not worth to sell because we actually currently can sell lower than we purchased for. So to mitigate that losses, we're just going to continue to rent, and rent is around $3,500 now.
Yeah, so definitely we don't suggest you start with luxury apartments. The reason is, again, we are losing $20,000 a month. The reason why we're able to withstand that is because we have a lot more apartments that make us a lot more than $20,000 in Philly, in the working class neighborhoods, B class neighborhoods, that's cash flowing very well.
There's a lot of factors. We believe that interest rates will go down in the near future. So for that, we are looking to rent for now to weather the storm, and hopefully in a year or 2 to be able to sell this.
Again, because the interest rate should be going down, the prices of assets should be going up because it costs less to borrow money. That means, the prices should be going up. So that's what we're banking on. That's why we decided to start renting now. So we're going to rent it for $3,500. However, our price is around $4,500. So for each unit, we'll be losing $1,000 a month. Well, right now when it's vacant, it's $45,000. We have 2-3 units vacant, plus other ones renting less. So we're losing still about $20,000 a month.
But the amount of money we're going to be losing in the next year will certainly be less than if we would sell it all of them now.
Yeah.
So that's why we're betting that the interest rates will go down, HOAs will stabilize across Florida. So for that reason, I think it'll be much better to sell in a year from now.
So I think that's an amazing piece of advice that's really actionable, right? So I think that there's the check your ego to the door, which is sort of the feelings and the thought process. And I think fundamentally from a business sense, if you're not at that point, you're probably not ready for luxury. If you like this episode and you're about to invest in a luxury property with an HOA, hopefully this was a very helpful episode for you. Like, share, and subscribe, and always keep out an eye for new content from New American Dream. Ashot, Vaz, thank you.
Thank you.